Amman is the charming capital of Jordan. Most people skip this out, but you are missing out if you do. Jordan was once part of the Roman Empire, and evidence of that is scattered all over Jordan, including Amman. Amman is apparently one of the world's oldest and consistently inhabited cities, originally founded in 7250 BC. In the heart of the city, you have the Roman theatre used to entertain Roman citizens. It was built in the 2nd century AD and houses 5,000 to 6,000 spectators. From the Roman theatre, you can take an Uber to the Citadel, which is perched on top of one of Amman's 7 hills. At the Citadel, you'll find the remains of the Temple of Hercules, a Byzantine church, and Umayyad Palace. There is also a museum on site displaying many of the artifacts that have been found all the way back to the Neolithic period, which is between 10,000 to 4,500 BC. Visit the Citadel just before sunset for panoramic views of Amman. Whilst in Amman, I stayed at the Seas Hotel, which is located in the 2nd circle. It was really good value for money, and I could get Ubers everywhere I needed to go to in the city for about 2 to 3 JD. Next is to visit Ajloun Castle, rebuilt in 1184 by one of the generals of Saladin on the site of an old monastery. It was used to protect the region from crusaders, as it is an excellent vantage point, offering 360 views for miles and miles and miles. The ancient city of Jerash is the best preserved site of Roman architecture outside of Italy. My favourite part of Jerash was the Temple of Zeus, but there is so much to explore, including the South Gate, the Oval Plaza, the Temple of Artemis, and the Southern Theatre. Be prepared to walk, as this archaeological site is massive. You may want to bring an umbrella with you for shade if you're visiting in the summer months. I did this as a day trip from Amman for 15 JD with Jet. This includes getting on an air-conditioned bus which took us to the sites of Ajloun Castle and Jerash. There is no tour guide included, which I prefer, as you're left to enjoy the sites at your own leisure. Currently, this tour happens on Thursdays and Saturdays. There is an option to buy lunch at Artemis restaurant for 17 JD on the website when you buy your bus ticket online. But if you buy this at the restaurant, it's 10 JD for the lunch buffet and then 2 JD for every drink you buy. You can also negotiate with a taxi driver to take you to these sites or book a one-day tour. The Jordan Valley is home to the site where Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist. The River Jordan is not quite what it used to be due to water diversions, but it is still a significant site for Christian pilgrims. The ticket to get to the baptism site cost 12 JD, but I got mine for 8 as I purchased it at the same time as when I bought my Jordan pass. Just so you know, I've prepared a cheat sheet where you can get all this information summarized to help you plan your trip to Jordan. Link to access this information is in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Mount Nebo is mentioned in the Bible as the place where Moses was granted a view of the promised land and spent his last days there. From Mount Nebo, you can see various places including the Dead Sea, Bethlehem, Jerusalem, and Jericho. There's also a small church in which Mass was taking place when I visited. Again, I visited both the baptism site and Mount Nebo on a day tour from Amman with Jet. I think this cost between 10 to 15 JD. This tour also stopped at Madaba, which houses the mosaic map. At that point in the tour, I was pretty exhausted, so I didn't quite make it to the mosaic map. The Dead Sea, known to be the lowest point on earth, is actually a salt lake bordered by Jordan, the West Bank, and Israel. The reason it's called the Dead Sea is due to the high salt concentration. It's devoid of all life. However, the salt content means it's impossible to sink, and the salt and minerals are meant to have health and cosmetic benefits. You can actually see the salt formations in the water. I've been told in order to make the most of the Dead Sea, first thing you need to do is get the mud and gently rub your skin with it. Dry skin. This may sting a little bit due to the salt content, however the rubbing action will gently exfoliate the skin. Once the mud is completely dry, you just take a dip in the Dead Sea and enjoy the feeling of weightlessness and just let the mud soak away. You can also take some salt and rub that on your skin for extra exfoliation. You can do a day trip to the Dead Sea with jet from Amman, which is 15 JD, but to freely enjoy the benefits, it's best to book a day pass to one of the many Dead Sea resorts. You can book this actually via jet. They go to several of the resorts, including the Crown Plaza and I think Dead Sea. However, bear in mind, if you go during the summer months, it will be unbearably hot, so it's best to enjoy the Dead Sea first thing in the morning, like 6:30 a.m. or when the sun is going down. For that, it's better to stay overnight at one of the resorts. That is what I did. I took an Uber from Amman to the Dead Sea and stayed at the Crown Plaza Hotel. I opted to stay for 3 nights as I'm a slow traveler and I needed a respite after being busy touring in Amman the previous days. Wadi Mujib is a natural trail like no other. It's a river that flows between menacing but beautiful canyons which makes its way to the Dead Sea. This is canyoning like no other. Be prepared for a leg workout as you'll be making your way upstream to a waterfall and back again. There is also some climbing involved, but it's like a natural adventure course. I heard there are little fish in the water that like to nibble on the skin, so I wore a long sleeve top and leggings. I got a car from my hotel in the Dead Sea to Wadi Mujib, which cost me 30 JD. It was supposed to be 60. However, you can potentially get an Uber from a hotel in the Dead Sea, but I would negotiate with them to pick you up as Wadi Mujib is practically in the middle of nowhere. Day trips can also be arranged from Amman. One of the 7 wonders of the world, Petra is on the top of most people's list when coming to visit Jordan. But don't be mistaken, Petra is more than just a treasury, which you may remember from Indiana Jones or seen from countless Instagram posts. It is an entire city, the Nabatean capital. It contains thousands of buildings carved in the rock face, and I believe it's architecture at its finest. It's worth giving Petra the time it needs to be explored. I would definitely allow a few days to explore Petra. I had a 2-day pass, but if I had to do it again, I would have got a 3-day pass. On day 1, I started at the main entrance and walked from the Sikh to the treasury. From the treasury, I made my way to the place of high sacrifice, and I went down a different route to the city centre. I had to literally take a quick nap at the Basin Cafe before heading back to the Roman Theatre, back to the treasury, and then through the Sikh out that exit. I did over 20,000 steps that day, so be prepared for walking. And the walk isn't always easy, as you'll need to go up and down to access some places. I made my way from the Dead Sea to Petra via Uber and it cost 78 JD. However, there is a direct bus with jet from Amman to Petra which costs 10 JD. Whilst visiting Petra, I stayed in the centre of Wadi Musa at the Town Season Hotel. It was a charming hotel with really good service and a great location. They even offered a complimentary transfer to and from Petra, which took about 5 to 10 minutes to get to. I booked a small single room and I would really recommend staying here. Whilst visiting Petra, Little Petra is also worth combining with your visit, and you can get a free shuttle from Petra's visitor centre or make your way directly there. I drove there directly from my hotel. It's much smaller, but you still have many of the same architectural sites built into the rock face, and there's a path that you can walk down with beautiful views of the canyons and the mountains. From Little Petra, you can then make your way to the back entrance of Petra. Some people hike this, but it will take several hours. I took the Jeep, which is 5 JD, and it takes you right to the back entrance. I then had to walk up for about an hour with beautiful canyon views before making my way to the monastery. From the monastery, I then walked down to the city centre to the Lion Zion's Temple, the Blue Church. I then saw the royal tombs, and I was back out again through the treasury and the Sikh. Most people come for Petra, but the highlight of a lot of people's trip is Wadi Rum, the Red Desert. Said to be identical to the surface of Mars, this protected site is a haven of tranquility. Its unique landscape has been used to film many space films, including The Martian with Matt Damon, one of the Star Wars films, and the list goes on. Whilst in Wadi Rum, I stayed at the Rum Stars camp in the executive tent. What was great about this camp is that they switched off the lights in the evening so you could see the stars. I even saw 2 shooting stars. I've never seen stars like that in my life, and it was so amazing to the point where I felt, quite emotional and grateful to be there that my eyes started to well up a little bit. So next is Aqaba. This vibrant city is the only coastal city in Jordan and is located on the Gulf of the Red Sea. Full of history, Aqaba has been inhabited since 4000 BC. You can find out more about its ancient history at the Aqaba Fort or by exploring the remains of the ancient Islamic city of Ayla and the archaeological church of Aqaba, all within walking distance of each other. Aqaba is a great place to chill at the end of your trip. Being at the Red Sea, water sports, snorkeling, scuba diving, kite surfing, they're all popular here. And if you're on chill vibes, you can definitely watch the sunset from the beach or the Arab Revolt Square. Whilst in Aqaba, I stayed at the Bratis Hotel, which is about a 15-minute walk from the centre. It was a really nice hotel with delicious breakfast and nice rooms. However, I wanted to skin out on the beach freely, so I also stayed at the Movenpick Hotel, which has its own private beach. Whilst planning your trip to Jordan, there are mistakes you definitely want to avoid. So check out this video next on the mistakes tourists make when coming to Jordan. And don't forget to subscribe. My name's Estelle Tremaine, and I will see you in the next video.